Rabataya, good moed, modim l'simcha. Yesterday, Baruch Hashem, we were privileged to begin Orlah in the Mishnah Yomi. Now we are continuing in the first parak of Orlah at the second Mishnah. Eit shabau avotenu la'aretz. At the time our ancestors came into Eretz Yisrael under Yeshua ben Nun, mitzau natui, if they found trees already planted, putter. They were putter from Orlah, no matter when they were planted. Even if the non-Jews there had just planted these trees recently, within 3 years, they're putter from Orlah because the pasuk says untatem, when you plant, meaning when Jews plant in the land. Natu, if they planted the trees, our ancestors, with Yeshua ben Nun, Afal Pishalo Kovshu, even though they hadn't conquered the land yet. Remember, there were 7 years of conquering the land from the Canaanites, another 7 years of Chalukah, of dividing the land, Chayev. So it is Chayev to start counting Orlah, even though the land wasn't truly in Jewish possession yet. This is an amazing concept, Rabbi Sai, because even though at this time we didn't have full Kedusha Sa'aretz, the land wasn't really subject to tithing and maisrot and trumot, but we had this concept of Orlah just from planting a single tree once a Jew had set foot in Eretz Yisrael. This reminds me of the Sefer Em Habarim Smecha by Rabbi Yisachar Shlomo Teichtal. So in Em Habarim Smecha, he's writing during the Holocaust, during the Shoah, about the efforts of the Zionists, even the anti-religious Zionists. They're completely chilonim. They have no religious intention, but the work that they were doing of planting in Eretz Yisrael, of growing things in Eretz Yisrael, of settling Jews in Eretz Yisrael, he has a lot of kind things to say about it and miraculous things to say, that it's really, it's Reshit Smichat Gilotenu, that even though there wasn't really Kedushat Haaretz as we think of it, they weren't learning in yeshiva, but they were mamish planting trees in Eretz Yisrael. So it's an amazing thing to think about, even without full Kedushat Haaretz. Even one Jew planting one tree brings a certain level of Kedusha to Eretz Yisrael. The Mishnah continues, Hanotea l'rabim. Somebody is planting for the rabim, for the public use, on his own property, the Mefarshim say, but he's planting for other people to eat from it. Chayav, you do have to count Orlah and cannot eat for the first 3 years. Rabbi Yehuda Poter. Yehuda says, no, it's only for Yechidim, only trees for an individual, or Chayav and Orlah, not for the public. Hanotea b'rshut rabim, someone plants in the public domain. Ve'ovid kochavim shnata, or a non-Jew who plants, on Jewish land or in Eretz Yisrael, or for a Jew, or a Jew buys it later. Ve'gozlan shnata, someone steals a field and plants trees there. Hanotea b'sfina, someone plants in a boat. Now the Mefarshim say either this boat has a hole in it, so it's similar to our flower pot with a hole that we discussed by Trumot and Maisrot, that it could be enough attached to the land to be considered growing the land, or the boat itself is made out of cheres, earthenware, so it has some sort of attachment to the land. It allows nourishment from the land. The ole me'elav, and a plant that comes up by itself, chayev ba'orla. These are all chayev to count Orlah. In the first 3 years, aser, the 4th year is revai. The Rambam is mechalak, actually says ole me'elav, if it grows by itself, he says that's only in private property, it's chayev in Orlah, but in public property, it would not be, according to the Rambam. Mishnah Gimel, this is very important. Mishnah Rabosai, Elon Shenekar, a tree that was uprooted, Vehasela imo, and the rock is with it. Now, this is not exactly a rock. This is the hard clumps of earth that are sticking to the roots. You'll notice, and the Rambam and the Bartner both say, when a tree is growing, it kind of like the dirt that the root hairs are attached to kind of forms clods of earth, and you'll see them if you pull up a tree. Shtafu nachar v'selimo, or the river is washing over the bank and washing off the dirt, but there's still this hard soil on the roots of the tree. Im yachol lichyot putter. If the tree is able to live off of this dirt that's still around the roots, it's putter, meaning you don't have to restart the count. If this tree had already been in the ground for 5 years, you could replant it with this clod of hard earth still on the roots, and you don't have to restart the count and start counting over again. V'im lov chayav, if it's not enough dirt for the tree to live on, or all the dirt's washed away, you do have to recount, start the count over again when you replant. Mishnah continues, nekar asela mitzido, if the hard soil was separated from the side of the tree, or a plow hit it and shook off the hard rock, Oziazu nasik afar, or it shook the hard rock and makes it more loose, like loose soil instead of clumped as a hard clump attached to the roots. And then so he has to kind of fix it and fill in with dirt. Im yachol lichiot pater. If the tree would have survived with the existing dirt still on the roots, you don't have to count the orla again. Im lov chayev. But if he had knocked off enough dirt, or the shaking or the mudslide or whatever it was, shook off enough of the dirt from the roots that it wouldn't have made it without repacking it with fresh dirt, then he would have to start counting over again. Now, Rabbi, I'm not a posek and I don't play one on TV, but I have asked post-game about buying fruit trees and replanting them, and they say yes, if the dirt clod around the roots is replanted with the tree once you bring it home, then you don't have to start counting over again. And furthermore, I asked and was told that in Chutz La'aretz, where Orlah is derabanan, you can believe the people selling the tree. If you ask them maslot, Masiach Levitumu, yes, and well, hey, how about how old do you think this tree is? Or how tall do they get when they're fully grown? Is this one fully grown? You kind of ask them how old it is or how old they think it is. And if they're, they're bucky in trees, you're buying it from a place that they grow trees and they know what they're talking about. And you're not saying, hey, I need to know for my sake of Orlah because I'm not allowed to eat it for the first 3 years. You're just asking them in general about caring for the tree. Then you can believe them because we're in Chutz La'aretz and the Orlah is derabanan. And you keep the dirt on the roots and go ahead and replant the tree in your backyard, and you will be, God willing, good to go. Hagim